Hello, everyone. I'm Gary Raze here with Eugene Spotlights, and I have the honor to get to interview Eric Burke, who is the one of the founding members here of Friends of Trees. And so we'll get into all the things that you get to do with this particular thing. So tell me a little bit about you, how long you've been in this area, and then we'll get into how well you take care of trees in our community.
Sounds great, Gary. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity. I grew up here. I wish I could say I was born here, but I moved here when I was about 8 months old.
Yeah, that's we can call you Eugene.
So I've been here 57 years, but I went to Eugene schools and started volunteering when I was 19 with tree groups. And just for something to feel like I was doing something good on the weekend. And
for the community, actually.
Yeah, for the whole community. And I volunteered first pruning some trees, and then we started planting. And Friends of Trees is kind of the last in line of a long series of groups that have been in Eugene, I started volunteering in 1986 with Friends of Eugene's Urban Forest. That came and went. Then there was the Eugene Tree Commission had some events, and that came and went. And then the Eugene Neighborhoods program through City of Eugene, and I volunteered with them. And then the Eugene Stream Team, both of those are gone now. And then Eugene Tree Foundation came into being in 1997, and that was around for 14 years until 2011. And I started volunteering with that when I came back from grad school in Corvallis in 2000, and became the secretary, treasurer, vice president, president. And when we invited Friends of Trees executive director down to give a talk at our annual celebration of trees, and we were just so impressed with what they could do with paid staff, and we're like, we want to do that here in Eugene and Springfield. And so we became, our nonprofit Eugene Tree Foundation was consolidated within Friends of Trees, which is a state or regional group from Southwest Washington down here to Springfield and Eugene. And we officially became a chapter branch of that in 2011.
Okay.
So we've been here as Friends of Trees for 13 years.
So, and I know there have been groups from way back, and I remember them coming out of the Oak Ridge area and planting fir trees, replanting, reforestation. But you do more than just fir trees.
Yeah, and so, and I just saw in the news yesterday that one of those original groups, the Hodads.
Yes, that's who I was thinking of.
One of the guys went on to study genetics and stuff and won the Nobel Prize. He was part of a team that won the Nobel Prize, one of the original Hodads. Our mission is to engage volunteers to plant and care for city trees. Okay. So almost all our work is in the urban growth boundaries of Springfield and Eugene. After we transitioned to Friends of Trees from Eugene Tree Foundation, we really wanted to serve everyone in the community and have an equitable approach. We had been focusing mostly on downtown and South Eugene. We wanted to break out of that and get out into West Eugene, North Eugene, and Springfield. So we expanded our service area to all of Springfield and all of Eugene.
Here's what I think I know. I suspect that a lot of your work is dealing with hardwoods, the maples, and all the different, those types of trees that are in here, not just fir trees, certainly, because you've got the sidewalk, the roots that bust out the sidewalks and those types of things. And I suspect you get called a lot about what can we do as a neighborhood, what can we do to remedy this situation, I suspect.
You're absolutely right. And so I have right over here on my desk, this is the approved street tree list for City of Eugene that's got 183 trees in it. And we plant in the public right-of-way and on the private yards, and then also in natural areas and right-of-ways of ODOT and Lane County. But the majority of our trees historically have been in these public right-of-ways, so that area you were just talking about between the sidewalk and the curb, And so this regulates the width of the planting strip, what kind of tree you can plant, the soil type. It also gets into drought tolerance, shade tolerance, and poor drainage tolerance.
I suspect the number of feet you can plant away from sidewalks and that type of thing, perhaps?
Yeah, and so this approved street tree list City of Eugene did, and there's one in Springfield too, tried to address the long issue that it's most major cities in the developed world have this issue. For years, cities plant too large a tree in that right of way. It breaks the sidewalk. The adjoining landowner has to pay the cost. Then the city would go back and plant too large a tree in the right of way again and start the cycle over. In some places in Eugene, that same cycle has happened 3 or 4 times. And so we wanted to break out of that cycle.
I understand. And keep in mind, listeners, that if the sidewalk breaks out and it becomes uneven, it's your responsibility to take care of that, because it's a lawsuit waiting to happen. So unfortunately, it was not your causing, but you are still responsible for making sure that the sidewalk in front of you is level and there's no obstruction that might cause a fall from an elderly person or a young person like you.
And there's federal regulations. The American Disability Act regulates how much of a raised area in the sidewalk there can be. And so what this approved street tree list, and actually 5-8 years before this came out, we changed our policies. So in small planting strips that are 4 to 6 inches wide, we started only planting small trees. Medium ones that are 5.5 to 8 feet, we would only plant medium-sized trees, and we wouldn't plant the large trees till we had 8-foot strips. We plant extra large trees and 9 plus strips, and then giant trees only if we have 20-foot wide planting strips, which is basically Villard and University Streets. That's it.
So who pays for those trees?
We raise money to plant each tree from 5 sources. So individual donations, business donations, grants, city contracts, and tree fees. So those are, we try and each tree, you could make a pie chart for the funding for it.
Okay.
And for the private trees, it mostly comes from like utilities and grants and individual business donations. For the public right-of-way trees, about 60%, 50% of the cost comes from city contracts, and then we raise the rest. It's very, very expensive to plant trees in the city, particularly large street trees.
I suspect that a lot of the new developments that are putting in multi-houses, they probably contact you for the right type of tree, and there's probably a cost to the developer for those trees, I would suspect.
Now that's regulated in a different way. So
Okay.
The City of Eugene has its Developer Street Tree Program, which gives contractors the option to plant the trees themselves, in which case they have to put up a bond, and they have to guarantee the tree's survival after 3 growing seasons,
Okay.
and prune it and all that. And then, or they can pay the city and have the city do that with their contractor. They have a phenomenal contractor. So that's about $450 to plant a tree, water it for 3 seasons, and then give it an initial pruning to get it off to a good start. Springfield has a different approach. Mostly the contractors do it themselves,
Okay.
but they're struggling with the contractors actually watering the trees. So they're trying to move things, I think, towards more of having a professional contractor do it. But we aren't allowed into that planting until those contracts expire. The trees start to die, and then people in those developments call us, and they're like, please help us replace our tree.
Well, that's kind of the reason that I wanted to ask too. So you're an organization that helps this community. And so I'm Joe Blow, and I've got a tree that's just huge, and I don't know what to do. I could theoretically call your organization and get free advice. Am I correct on that?
Absolutely. And so you can almost hear Jeff in the other room. And so he's responding to people who called us and want help getting street or yard trees. And so he's advising them, signing them up. And so we will help anyone get highly discounted or free street and yard trees.
Well, this is why, of course, we go around and we try to find organizations that serve our community. And of course, Friends of Trees is serving our community in a very positive way. And that's why you were selected to be interviewed.
Thank you.
So we're thrilled to be able to do that. If somebody, and I know that this will probably be printed at the bottom of the video, but how would they get in touch with you should they wish to get some advice from you about any particular tree or trees?
Great question. You can call our office, 541-632-3683, and we're happy to help. We're a little bit, I always recommend the extension service because when they went under a few years back, people think that the extension went away, but they're back, super helpful.
Good.
Particularly if you have tree disease or pest problems that you need help with. But you can call Friends of Trees with any tree issue or problem, and we will help you find an answer.
Or direct them to
direct you to the right person.
Sure.
But if you're interested in getting a tree for your yard or your street, or if you have a rental property, we love getting trees at rental properties, apartments. We work with property managers to get trees at apartments. You go to our website, friendsoftrees.org, and create an account. And you put in your name, phone number, email, and the property address. And if it's for a street tree, you check the box for street trees. You could get street and yard, check both boxes, or yard only. And if it's for street trees, it triggers us to come do an inspection of your site. And following this approved street tree list, we mark a white spray paint mark on the on the side of the curb in the shape of a T, that or the shape of a tree that is where every city approved planting spot is. And then we give you choices. We enter all that information, the soil type, width of the planting strip, address, into your account. And then you can log into your account and see tree choices. You can usually see 5 or 10 tree options available for right-of-ways and 20 or 30 for private yards.
Amazing. So you're kind of the answer man for this community.
And I do want to really mention that all our trees are planted by volunteers.
Okay.
And so we have 10 to 14 tree planting events. They're already on our online calendar at friendsoftrees.org. And so you sign up online if you want to come out and volunteer and plant trees, or go with your kid or kids out to one of our events, or a group. There's a group sign up, there's individual sign up, and then there's like kid waivers that you sign up online and then just come to the event. There's Saturday mornings from 9 to noon. And it's a really fun way to get together and plant trees. We work with volunteers from all over the community. And we have events where, like, our first planting this year is with a local business. It's bringing 60 volunteers out, and we're going to plant a kind of wetland area owned by ODOT, and plant a bunch of native trees out there.
Okay.
And shrubs and wildflowers too.
As you may or may not know, but I am a realtor.
Yeah.
And I get responses all the time from people that have moved into our area and are overwhelmed by the wonderfulness of our amounts of trees. That is a very big issue that has really drawn people to our community, besides just our football team and our basketball teams. So,
right.
And Eric, I understand you also have kind of a program where you do something called tree walks. What is that?
Well, it's a lot of fun. We do educational presentations around the community to neighborhood associations and stuff. But then we have tree walks where we'll meet at different locations around Eugene, in neighborhoods, in parks. Also in Springfield, we're going to be doing one at Meadow Park there. In Bethel neighborhood, we're going to be doing walks at Mangan Park, and then over in the southwest corner, kind of on Cone Street. And so about once or twice a month, we'll have a tree walk. Usually we'll meet on a Saturday at like 2 o'clock and walk around for an hour and a half or so and just identify trees, talk about trees, answer any questions about trees, and it's a lot of fun. And they're free. As
a former middle school teacher that I have been, I can imagine that information being served to middle schools around the community would be quite beneficial.
and we volunteer. We're trying to work in the schools as much as possible. We just are writing grants today and getting all these grants in as part of the Inflation Reduction Act. And one of the last projects we worked on in the schools for 5th grade classes that were getting sustainability education, they brought us in and we did a tree walk for every classroom at about 10 schools of the trees on the school campus. And so the kids got out and got to know what trees were actually.
Oh, great.
And we tried to plant a couple trees on their campus as well with the students. So.
Yeah. That's good information, because we used to do outdoor schools, and you only have about 5 or 6 different trees out in the forest area, of course, but around the Eugene area or Springfield area, that would be very beneficial to have something where the kids could go out and identify the deciduous trees that are here. So
we try and make it fun for the kids.
So I have a question now. This is you don't know what I'm going to ask, but for an all expense paid trip around this room, Eric has volunteered to take you around and give you a tour of this room. If you can answer the following question: what the heck is a hodad? And if you can answer that, give Eric a call and he'll be glad to talk with you about trees. So there you go. And again, Eric Burke, thank you so much for all the information that you've given us. And again, we are happy to talk about people that are community oriented and serving our community in a great way. So if you want to be interviewed in some fashion, just give us a call. Again, we are Eugene Spotlights. Until then, take care, and we'll see you soon.